Hey, what's up? In this episode, I'll be showing you how to reset an F43 error on a Bosch washing machine. Now, F43, you might look at your model and it might appear different to the one I have here. Rest assured, this process is the same for most models because most of them will have brushes on them. So this fault, to fix it, we need to access the back of the washing machine. I'll show you how to reset this error code, but before we start touching the touch panel and trying to reset all those error codes, we need to actually fix what's causing this problem. To do that, you're going to need a T30 Torx bit on a drill bit, or on, if you just have a manual one, you can use a manual one as well. We need to access the back of the washing machine. So what you want to do then is first turn your washing machine off and turn it off on the wall and unplug it. Unplug it so that you don't get shocked, and then turn the washing machine around. On the back of your washer, there will be screws there. There will be about, I would say about 12 to 14 screws that you need to remove. So this back panel, you need to remove that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just along the edges, you need to remove all those screws so that you can take off the back cover off your washer. So this is where you'd need to use your Torx 20 bit, so Torx 230 bit. Just remove all these screws. Just along those edges. Just make sure you don't lose your screws, otherwise you won't be able to close this thing properly and it will start vibrating and making noises. And there'll be two at the bottom here, which you'll need to take off. Just put the screws on top of the washer. To remove this panel, just pop it up and it comes out just like that. Set it to the side. So we'll be focusing on our motor here, which is what we're going to remove. To remove that, we're going to need a 10mm socket on a ratchet, or if you've got a ratchet spanner, you can use it to take off the motor as well. To remove the motor, you're going to remove the belt first. So the belt, just hold it out like that and spin the motor, spin the belt, and it just comes off. Simple as that. Alright, now we're going to remove the motor. To take it off, you take off these two bolts with your 10mm ratchet. Before we take off the motor, we want to remove this wiring. It just slots out like that. To remove the motor, just pull it out. You might need to wedge like a screwdriver here and push the motor out. Just pull it out. Pull it out. Just be careful when you're putting it out not to crush your fingers. You're going to need to remove these connectors. Just there'll be two clips here that you just pull and it comes out just like that. Then our carbon brushes we remove here. There'll be a little like pin just on this side that you push, and then you pull it out. Then to remove the brushes, you just push this inwards and push it up, and it comes out. Now mine are still pretty good. Yours, if they're way down, look at the length of that. If they're way down, like say maybe like 3/4 of the way more than that, then you need to replace them and they have a problem. Now with mine, I've already replaced these, but it's still giving that fault. So it's likely that the motor has to be replaced. If yours, if you replace the brushes and still giving the same fault, it might be an issue that this motor or your motor has failed and it needs to be replaced. So with mine, I'm going to go ahead and replace the motor and put in new brushes. So in that process, I'll be showing you how to put in your new brushes as well. Hey, I do post a lot of videos on how to repair these faults and many other faults that might come up with your washing machine. So be sure to hit that subscribe button or that like button so that you can find those fixing solutions when you need them, because you never know what might break down next on your washing machine, be it changing the seal or changing the pump. I have videos for many washing machines, Samsung, LG, whatever you might think of. I'll probably have a video on how to fix those issues. So be sure to hit that subscribe button or that like button, as it goes a long way to help out this channel. So these carbon brushes, you can find them on eBay. Just type in your model number. If you don't know your model number, at the back of every washing machine there will be a model number. So if you look, there'll be a sticker like this. So just quote a number that starts with like WAS28 something, or just where it says ENR, just quote that number, and that is the number for your brushes, which the number for your model. Once you've got that, you can just go on eBay and type in brushes for Bosch model number and then there's a lot of people selling these. They're really cheap, maybe might cost you like $5-10, but that's worth it because you save yourself a lot of trouble when you replace these brushes. And it's just like a pencil with these brushes. You need to replace them every few years because of how often you use the washing machine and how fast you spin it. That will depend on your usage pattern. So the more you use it, the quicker you need to change these brushes. But if you don't use it much, you don't need to replace them that much. I think this washing machine is over 10-15 years old and haven't needed to replace the brushes, but then now is the time to do it. Alright, so when you're replacing these brushes, you need to first take note of where the connector is, the wire is, and then you have to look at your brushes where you've got that slight curve or shape face. You want to make sure that's facing away from that connector. So if it's shaved that way, it needs to face that way. So mine's going to be facing that way. And you just put it in there. Now, this spring, you have to make sure that it goes in properly, that there's none of that spring sticking outside this cavity. So you just keep pushing it in until, take your time, there's no rush. Like I might get it in one go because I've done it hundreds of times, but if you're just first doing it, better to take your time and do it right than to rush it and then to have to remove and then redo it again. So once you've got it all in the housing, you secure half of it in that housing. It might be useful to have a flat screwdriver so that you can play around with this spring. And then once you've got it in, you just push it in like that. Alright, then you go on to the other side. Same thing applies on the other side. You want to make sure that you're really in there, like you want to make sure that it's nice So you want to make sure that the connection, the face, has to face away. So it's facing that way. So if you don't put it the right way, and as well when you put it inside, it should be freely flowing. See how like it just goes in there? There's basically like no resistance. You need to make sure that is the same case when you're putting it inside. So just keep putting it in. Oh, right. In. Then like that. Beautiful. So now it's in. The brushes are in. It's ready. You want to do like a test drive by just spinning this shaft. Spin it, and so you can hear what's going on in there. If it's making this like funny click 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 sound, it means that you haven't put these brushes in properly. But if you've put them in properly, it just makes a nice rotating sound. What we're going to do then is put back this motor in the washing machine. To do that, we're going to have to remember to put in all the wiring. So make sure you reconnect your connector like so. It's in there. Then you want to make sure you've got your earth connected. So this thing goes in like that. Somehow looks not. Okay, like that. This stuff you can bend it once it's inside. It'll be right. But just remember to put back everything and zip tie all this stuff in as well, because you don't want this shaking around with the vibrations it'll be making. You want to make sure that it's all nice and secure. Zip tie anything you've taken apart. Okay, to put it in, you so you have to line up these legs. So see, you've got these at the front and you've got those at the back. So at the back there'll be other things like these ones. So you need to make sure you line those two up and then you push in the motor. Otherwise, you try to push it in and it won't go in properly. So you want to make sure that you've got it all lined up perfectly, and then you can push the motor in. So get the back in first, then push the motor in. Like that. You can also use your bolts to push it further in if you want. So you can use your bolts to sort of pull it further in. Don't overdo it because this is plastic. If it doesn't want to go in, you might break those plastic legs, and then if you break them, there's no going back from that. Just make sure it's all the way in, because if you don't have it all the way in, it won't line up properly to the pulley, and that will cause issues with spinning. So you want to make sure that it's all nicely lined up, all nice and tight. So yeah, you can use these bolts to sort of pull it in, just like I'm doing now, until it's nice and flush. There you go, nice and flush. All my connectors are in. Don't over tighten it. All right, to put back the belt, it's as simple as taking your belt, first putting it on the pulley that's on the motor, and then putting it halfway up the pulley, and then just be careful not to crush yourself. Push the pulley down. It's all lined up now. Just like that, eh? Okay. Now, you might have some witness marks on it to tell you where it was previously. If you're just unsure, you can just have a look in there and there will be black like carbon marks. That will tell you what it was before. And it'll be in the proper position. So for mine, that's where it was before. It'll go back there. So before you put back the back cover, what you want to do is connect your washer back to the power. All right. Connect it back to power, turn it on. Then when you turn it on, that error is still there. We need to clear that error. So this is the important part. Now that we've fixed it, turn this knob to the spin position or the 6 o'clock position. So turn it until you see everything registering, 800 RPM spin speed, temperature, then the spin speed, and then turn it to the drain function to 7 o'clock. And then the screen goes blank, then you release, and after that the code is reset. There you go. So that's how you clear the F43 error. So now once that you've reset it, you want to make sure that it's spinning for real. Then what you do then is you just put it on the spin cycle and press start to see what's going on. That's it. Beautiful. You can see it's spinning already. So that means we've fixed this problem. If yours isn't spinning and it gives you an error, that means something is wrong or you need a new motor. I've replaced the motor on mine and that solved my issue. If you've opened yours and you've seen the brushes were very short, you need to replace the brushes that are short. And then that will fix your issue. If you run into any problems or get stuck during any part of this repair process, let me know in the comment section below. And hey, don't forget to put back the back cover. I know we fixed everything. I just told you not to put it back so that we test it first before we put back this cover. So I'm going to put my cover back on. To put it back on, it's pretty simple. Just the way you took it off, just do the reverse of that and make sure you've got all the screws, all the bolts and nuts in there. And then your washing machine's ready to wash again. You've got a new lease of life in your washer. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you on the next one.